Yeah, Trump's not a king. You know the difference between here. And for all you calling them Nazis, too, let me tell y'all what the difference is between Nazis and everything else. Hold on, give me a minute. I gotta pull it up. Ugh. Today. Oh wow, look at that. The 10th grew. It's like a legal homeless encampment. Wow. Oh wow, they really lit it up here. It's about time. They gave ice some backup. I'm gonna park up and check this out a little bit later. I got compliments to give them. Blinding ass light. They gotta fix this road. Hey, an American flag. I like to see that. Alright, we'll be back in 1 second. God damn, that's some cheap gas. $2.84 a gallon. That's some cheap ass gas. We're gonna see if gas is cheaper out this way though. We'll come back to that little thing in about an hour. But like, Trump's not a king. Like, these no kings protests, like they're literally insane. Like kings were back when they had freaking castles and shit. Kings were fucking, what the fuck? Why they got this closed? Bridge out. Anyways. What? Hey. Stay like a dog. So, here, let me get some audio playing. I gotta set up this audio here. Give me a second. Trump's not a king. And we're gonna go see. That was some cheap gas for Cook County. 280. What does that say? 289 a gallon. God damn, that's cheap gas. Let's see if this county's cheaper. One county over. Let's see if we can find some cheaper gas. Normally it's cheaper out here where I'm going. That's his name. Cam Smigby. Or Hidley, however you say it. Man, I wish I went up there that day he was up there. I got a lot more viewers. Yeah, let me get this audio ready. Give me a second. This fucking screen, dude. I gotta get this fucking screen fixed. Come on, audio. Pick up. Give me a second. It's taking a second to load. It's loading. It's like fucking PlayStation 1 loading. Oh, bro, get over in my way. Alright, now we're connected. There we go. Volume. Alright, I saved some good talking points. I gotta start getting a notepad, though. I really gotta get a notepad. I got what up. I loaded. Hang on, I'm trying to load it. protesters are paid, like those people outside that building there, they're all paid. I guarantee you a lot of them are paid to be there. Because I don't see how you can literally stay there without leaving for damn near 2 months now. Then people have been outside in that tent there. The same people, that girl with the glasses, her loony lesbian friend, fucking dude with the long hair is kind of cool, and the hoodie, I mean, he's cool. And the other guy's cool, the guy that's always picking up garbage. But all four of them have literally been there for 2 freaking months. Like, don't you got, like, your family? Don't you got, like... maybe not. That's why they're there 24/7. Like, they don't leave. Like, when we go back there in a little bit, you're gonna see it's all the same people. The girl with the short hair. It's gonna also be that girl with the glasses, who are both probably fucking hopped up on hormones because they want to be men, but they were born with a pussy and like they'll never have a dick. But they're probably all hopped up on hormones, off their meds. Like, it's crazy. Like, these people are literally crazy. Like, they're pure off what someone else tells them, and they don't think for themselves. Mr. Leader George Soros says go there and live there for 2 months, and like what they're eating ain't even healthy. They're literally living off fucking Ruffles and fucking barbecue chips and fucking water. Like, I want to know who's donating all that shit, because like that's a lot of money and shit they donated. Like, man, like, see, I went up there just being me, but a few other YouTubers, they went up there pretending to be someone they're not. I went up there pretending to be me. I like Trump. Yeah, I support ICE. There's thousands of illegal... 1 second. Let me get this video loaded. Okay, as I was saying, let me get this pulled up here. Hang on. Really gotta get this screen fixed. It is so fucking annoying. It's annoying the shit out of me. What is a king? Not a key, a king. I hate this speech text. Hold on. I'm going to tell y'all what a king is. I mean, I know. I'm going to let someone that can explain it a little more structural. What is a king? Alright. I'm going to tell y'all what some kings is. This is what a king is. Trump is not a king. All these paid protesters, I heard they're getting $30 an hour, some of these paid protesters. That's good fucking money to stand out there and give free chips all day, $30 a freaking hour. God damn it, fuck you, team. You sells fucking garbage. Hold on. Ugh! Stupid fucking... Basically where they give the power to their fucking sons. They're the rulers. There's no voting. Trump is none of that. Let's see what this guy says. This is a black man saying.
Your bag is going to school. Or the wooden one. They call them rulers, don't they? Take them to school, they call them rulers. Now, they call that a ruler because a
God damn it! So fucking annoying.
rulers, don't they? Take them to school, they call them rulers. Now, they call that a ruler because the word ruler means standard. You notice? A ruler does what? It draws a straight line. What does a line do as soon as you draw it? Two things. One, it separates. If you got a blank page with no lines on it, there's no separation. The minute you draw a line, there's separation. And secondly, when you draw a line, you set a standard. That's what a ruler means. A ruler draws the line. God draws the line. He decides what's right or wrong, what's up or down, what's left or right. He decides what's good or bad. You don't decide that. God is the ruler. He draws the line. Look at the word king. King, first of all, means ruler. Anybody grew up with those little plastic rulers in your bag when you go to school? Or the wooden one? They call them rulers, don't they?
Let me rephrase that. Oh, I hate this shit. This is so fucking annoying. I really gotta get this screen fixed. Hold on. What is the definition of a king? There's Donald Trump saying he's not a king.
I'm not a king. I work my ass off to make our country great. That's all it is. I'm not a king at all. I'm not a king. I work my ass off to make our country great. That's all it is. I'm not a king at all. I'm not a king. I work my ass off to make our country great. That's all it is. I'm not a king at all.
You sure ain't? Ah, here's what a real king is.
Opioid addiction gets between you and what you love. Once monthly Sublocade.
The history of monarchy is a rich tapestry of power, intrigue, and drama. But what really is the essence of a king? From the mighty pharaohs of Egypt to the legendary King Arthur and his knights.
We haven't had kings since
From the
fucking
flamboyant
Egypt.
King Louis XIV of France
Since King
to the
Louis.
tragic last
We haven't had a
empress of
king for
Russia,
over 100 years
monarchs
or
have
more.
left an indelible
Probably
mark
like 300
on world
years.
history. As Britain now gets its new king, let's have a look at what it actually means to be
Britain
a king.
has a king. Let me
Whatever our
rephrase
political views, kings and queens still have a special fascination for most of us. There is something primal, something very old about the concept of kings, something echoing in our collective subconscious about the identification of a ruler with their state, with their land. Many mammals have social structures that resemble monarchies. But the role of the leading animal is not only to enjoy privileges. It's quite the opposite. In a fight, the leader has to be the first to fight, and the strongest fighter. The leadership role is always challenged. Since the leader represents the whole group, a weak leader would mean a weak group. And this, in nature, would be fatal. So the leader has to be constantly challenged. They have to make sure that they can always defend their position, that they can protect, lead, and embody the strength of the group. For us humans, this leads first to the idea of the king or queen as God, later as a representative of God, as a link between the worlds of the mundane and the
Well, he is
divine.
a representative of God, but he's not a
Royals
God.
have always claimed to be appointed by God, and the rituals of Christian monarchies are still mimicking the rituals of the Church. In their book, King, Warrior, Magician, Lover, Robert Moore and Douglas Gillette talk about the essence of monarchy. That book belongs to a new masculinity movement, so it's not everyone's thing. But one can ignore that and just look at their analysis of the social role of kings which is brilliant. Their insights about kings and their role in society are based on the psychoanalysis of C.G. Jung, and they're fascinating. For them, the king is an archetypal kind of role, a role that we understand on a deeper level than just another job. Just like the father, the mother, the warrior, or the magician, the king is one of these traditional roles that define human beings. They try to make sense of what it means to lead a human life. The king archetype does not need to be an actual royal. A company CEO expresses the same idea, or the leader of a powerful
When we
social
come
movement.
back, we're going to explain what a Nazi is.
Kings and queens in all human history have had two main functions. The first is to organize society around themselves, to provide a
That's
focal
not what
point,
Trump's doing.
the throne, the castle, the palace, around which institutions, cities, villages, laws, power structures, and social life can organize themselves. The second is to be the source of power and life for society. In traditional societies, the king and queen are responsible for the fertility of the land.
This
As
isn't giving
God
a good
creates the
impression.
world, as mother
He's also not a Nazi. Listen. God damn it. Riz going to do this one. What is a Nazi?
What is a Nazi?
Trump is not this either.
Get ready to relax with stress-free banking at Credit Karma.
Feel the tension melt.
In September 1919, a former amateur artist and army veteran named Adolf Hitler joined the ranks of the German Workers' Party, later known as the Nazis. It was a decision that would have a profound impact not only on Germany, but the entire world. The atrocities committed by the Nazis at the height of their power are staples of every lesson on World War II. But just as democracy like Germany fall under the sway of a tyrant in the first place, it all goes back to Germany's loss to the Allies in World War I. German leaders were forced to sign the Treaty of Versailles, agreeing to shrink its armed forces, give up land, and pay large sums of money in reparations, weakening its already unstable economy.
Trump's not doing any
Many
of
Germans
that.
felt humiliated and betrayed by their leadership, and there was growing fear that their nation would be stuck in poverty and decline. In this climate of bitterness, Hitler rose to prominence. A gifted public speaker, he captured the people's disillusionment with a series of speeches calling for a stronger, unified Germany. He insisted that one group was to blame for the nation's post-war misfortunes: the Jews.
Here, hang on, I gotta come back to this. I gotta find it. The cheap. Picking up where we left off.
And his followers attempted a government coup in 1923, but the plan failed. Hitler was jailed for treason for 9 months, but the publicity from the failed coup made him more popular than ever. Then, in 1929, the Great Depression hit, destroying the German economy overnight and leaving millions unemployed. Hitler saw the ensuing chaos as his opportunity to seize power. He loudly criticized the ruling government and promised to return Germany to greatness. Long-suffering Germans believed they had finally found their savior. In Germany's 1932 elections, the Nazis won a majority of seats in parliament, and Hitler ran for president. Though he lost,
Hang on, I gotta figure out where this guy. I found it. Picking up where we left off. For all you people that think Trump's a Nazi, which he ain't.
soaring popularity inspired
Oh, I hate this fucking thing.
Paul von Hindenburg to appoint him chancellor, the head of the German government. As chancellor, Hitler wasted no time tightening his grip on every
Oh, this is so annoying.
of German life. He tripled the size of the military, violating the Treaty of Versailles. Under Hitler's orders, rival parties were banned, while
Trump's doing none
paramilitary
of this.
groups cracked down down
If
on
anything,
protests
Joe
and
Biden was doing
executed
this shit,
political
or his
opponents.
auto pen.
Anti-Semitic laws prohibited Jews from working, voting, and occupying public spaces.
Why
A
not?
propaganda department produced art, films, and books praising Hitler and embracing his vision of a better Germany. After the death of President von Hindenburg in 1934,
This is so fucking annoying, this fucking screen shit. I really gotta get this fixed.
himself Führer, an absolute dictator, with Germany under his total control.
Again, seriously?
Would shift his focus to global domination, setting the stage for World War II.
There's not sufficient evidence that Hitler died in the bunker in April 30th, 1945.
Could Adolf Hitler have gotten out of Berlin?
That is so fucking annoying.
But how did he enter Argentina?
We're going to look at who could facilitate hiding Hitler.
Domino's has the best deal ever right now, where you can get any pizza, any topping for $9.99. You know, I'm taking advantage. We got the large hand toss with pepperoni, sausage, mushrooms, peppers, and onions, and a crunchy thin crust with barbecue sauce, chicken, onions, and bacon.
What is it here?
I already enjoyed Domino's vicariously, but for $9.99, I'm having a ball. She's looking gorgeous.
Fucking screen. What is Nazism? Let's see if this is some fucking
What is
brainwashing
Nazism?
shit.
Imagine a time in history when a nation faced immense challenges, both economically and socially. In
That's
this
not
environment, a political ideology emerged that would leave a lasting impact on the world.
284.
This
Why
ideology
is that
is known
shelf
as
so much more
Nazism.
across the street?
Nazism, or National Socialism, originated in
284,
Germany during the early 20th century.
284.
It was primarily
344,
associated with the National
390.
Socialist
Damn,
German
under
Workers'
$5,
Party,
under
led by
$4 a
Adolf
gallon
Hitler.
premium. I gotta get some
The movement
gas.
gained
Under fucking
traction
$3 a
aftermath
gallon.
of World War
$4.
I,
Damn.
when Germany was grappling with severe
Biodiesel is
economic
$3.99. I
hardships,
gotta get some gas.
political instability, and social unrest.
Some cheap
At
gas.
its core, Nazism promoted the
It's
idea
actually
of a
really
racially
good.
pure
God
state,
damn.
emphasizing the superiority of the so-called Aryan race. This belief system led to the exclusion and persecution of various groups, including Jews, Romani people, disabled individuals, and others deemed undesirable. The
Trump's not
ideology
doing any
also
of that.
advocated for extreme nationalism, militarism, and the expansion of German territory. The Nazis implemented their policies through a totalitarian regime, which sought to control all aspects of life in Germany. This included censorship of the media, suppression of dissent, and the use
Trump's not censoring any media. The only motherfucker that was censoring media was Joe Biden's bitch ass.
to promote their beliefs. The regime's aggressive expansionist policies ultimately
You're gonna have to listen to it like this. I gotta get some cheap gas.
The consequences of Nazism were catastrophic. The regime was responsible for the deaths of millions, including 6 million Jews during the Holocaust. The defeat of Nazi Germany in 1945 marked the end of this dark chapter in history, but the impact of Nazism continues to be felt today, as societies grapple with the legacy of hatred and intolerance. Understanding Nazism is essential for recognizing the dangers of extremist
This video was off
ideologies
to a rocky
and the
start.
importance of promoting tolerance and human rights in
I'm just
our
gonna
world.
delete it. I need more explaining of a Nazi.
If you've got honey at home, you might be one step away from wiping out your memory problems. Today, I'm going to show you how to make
shut
this
the fuck
recipe
up.
using raw honey.
Honey is good for you, though. Ah, here we
Trauma
go.
of the First World War and the turbulent interwar years led various political
For
and
all you
ideological
non-believers,
movements of
this
the
is what a
time to
Nazi
incorporate
is. Hopefully this is
anti-Semitism
right.
in
I'm
their
not gonna say it,
ideologies
but
and
it'll
policies. This reached a peak with the rise of Nazism in Germany and with the formulation of the Nazi ideology. A dominant force in the development of Nazi ideology was Adolf Hitler. Born in a small town in Austria in 1889 to a family of minor landowners, Hitler moved to Munich in 1913. When World War I broke out the following year, he joined the German army, serving in France and in Belgium. He was promoted to the rank of Lance Corporal. After the war, Hitler returned to Munich. Like many others in the German sphere, he was embittered and humiliated by Germany's defeat in World War I, and was further outraged by the terms of the Versailles Treaty. He soon joined the small and marginal anti-Semitic German Workers' Party that changed its name in 1920 to the National Socialist German Workers' Party, or the Nazi Party for short. It is within the ranks of the party that he found a political home among others who despised Germany's democratic Weimar government and who blamed Marxists and Jews for the country's problems. Hitler was quickly recognized as an extraordinary and charismatic public speaker, and in 1921 became his party's all-powerful chairman. By 1923, the Nazi Party swelled to an estimated 56,000 members. As mentioned, the first years of the Weimar Republic were difficult and tumultuous. Under the leadership of a social democratic government, the Republic faced an economic crisis, which stemmed from the immense expenditures of war, the damage to industrial production capacity, the transition from a war economy to a peace economy, and the high level of reparations that Germany was forced to pay under the Versailles Treaty. This was accompanied by extreme anti-republicanism, which brought about a wave of political assassinations. In November 1923, at a time when the economic crisis in the Republic, beginning with the takeover of the Bavarian government in Munich, the armed revolt, known as the Beer Hall Putsch, failed. Caught and tried for treason, Hitler was sentenced to 5 years in jail, though he only served 9 months. During this time, he was imprisoned in very comfortable conditions. He had a private room in which he received his many guests, got regular deliveries of newspapers and books, and was surrounded by his personal assistant and friends. Most of his time in prison was dedicated to the composing of Mein Kampf, My Struggle, his political autobiography in which he outlined his vision for a new future for Germany and the main principles of Nazi ideology or worldview. These continued to be formulated in the following years by Hitler himself and by other central figures in the Nazi Party. What then were the main principles of the Nazi ideology?
Nazi ideology was a worldview that claimed to explain everything about the world and how it functions. At its core, the ideology was racial and biological, totalitarian and imperialistic. Nazi ideology viewed the world as divided into races, with superior and inferior races. And of course, the Aryan race, the so-called Aryan race, was a superior race to which the Nazis attributed all positive developments in humanity, in arts, in science, in technology, and so on. And all the other races of humanity fit into the racial hierarchy in various rungs beneath the so-called Aryan race. For example, the Latin race, the French, the Italians, and so on, were one rung below the Aryan race, who could appreciate culture, but do not create culture and the arts and science and so on. Within this view, the Jews were viewed as a kind of anti-race, an inhuman race of some sort, a creature of some sort that existed in human form. And the Jews were by nature evil and destructive. It was by no accident that the Nazis viewed the Jews in their ideology as a kind of microbe on the one hand, or as the devil incarnate on the other. In other words, some kind of inhuman creature with supernatural powers that could destroy everything that the Aryan race and other people had built in this world. Where did the Nazis get these ideas from? Clearly, they didn't invent anything that they argued. The Nazis drew their ideas from earlier beliefs, and particularly from developments in 19th century research in the sciences and the social sciences, and the development of modern racism and the development of modern anti-Semitism. What the Nazis did was bring all of this together into one cohesive ideology that was setting out to explain everything. And
we'll be right back.
From that ideology, they argued that the Aryan race has the natural right to rule, and as such, various policies derived from that natural right to rule. For example, the Nazis argued that they had a right to expand eastward into the
We'll be right back.
territories of the lesser.
I'm gonna pause this so I make a little side video on that cheap gas, picking up what a Nazi is for all you uneducated.
Argued falsely that Germany was the most crowded nation on earth, and therefore, because they were superior and had the right to rule, they could expand into the territory that was unfairly peopled by subhumans. They also, because of their ideology, developed other policies. For example, the policy during the course of World War II, known as T4, or as the euthanasia program, through which they murdered some 200,000 or more mentally handicapped and some physically handicapped Germans, most of them Aryans, but from a Nazi point of view, defective Aryans who didn't contribute to society. Nazi ideology then set out, as other ideologies developed in the same period of the late 19th century and the 20th century, they set out to develop, as they saw it, a perfect world. And they claimed to have that recipe to develop a perfect world. Such utopian ideas tend to develop worlds that are full of destruction. Nazi policymaking then was the introduction, the newness that the Nazis brought to this world. Not the specific ideas that they brought together from the 19th century, but rather making those ideas, coalescing them into one distinct worldview to explain how the world functions and how it ought to function, and then turning that ideology into the engine for policymaking, first of all for Germany, and ultimately for all the world. And within that policymaking, a special place was set aside for the Jews. The Jews who constituted the greatest threat to the world because of their destructive nature, and because of their immutable nature, they cannot change. And hence Nazi policymaking regarding the Jews, which stood at the heart of Nazi ideology, also ultimately was part of what stood at the heart of Nazi policymaking and led in the end to the final solution. Nazi totalitarian thinking was on two levels. First of all, that there is no equality among nations or races. Clearly, the Aryan race needs to rule, and the German people need to rule.
And Trump is not doing any of that for you uneducated.
Totalitarianism was internal. How was that nation and how were those people going to be ruled within Germany and within the Aryan race? It was going to be through what developed the Nazi ideology as the Führerprinzip.
Thank God Trump gas is
the principle that the Führer, the leader, Hitler, embodies the will of the nation, the will of the race, and as such, to argue against what he says, to argue against what he determines as policy, is to argue against the race and is therefore unacceptable. And as such, totalitarian rule, and no other kind of rule, was the only way to go.
Nature and biology are very important in this world. According to nature and their interpretation of nature, there is a hierarchy of nature. And this stands versus the main idea of this era.
What happened? Fuck. I'm not even touching this shit. This is so. I gotta get the screen fixed. It's fucking annoying, man.
Equality emerged with the Enlightenment, was implemented with the French Revolution, and not opposite to that idea. Where comes equality? Equality, which we find socialism, in communism, in democracy, comes from the Enlightenment. Enlightenment emerged from Christianity. Christianity emerged from Judaism. So we are coming back. Jews are at the origin of the idea of equality. Therefore, everything, Marxism and capitalism, are Jewish. And it is wrong to think that they are opposites. Right? They stand versus the natural principle of hierarchy. And Nazism is representing this principle of nature, and therefore society should be ordered also according to the Führerprinzip, and nations should be ordered according to their place on the ladder of nature, and Jews are actually outside this ladder.
The fuck? so fucking annoying, man. Did it just change the video on me? Oh no, roots of Nazi ideology. Wait, did it just change the video? Hold up.
We have already discussed how the trauma of the First World War and the turbulent interwar years led various political and ideological movements of the time to incorporate anti-Semitism in their ideologies and policies. This reached a peak with the rise of Nazism in Germany and with the formulation of the Nazi ideology. A dominant force in the development of Nazi ideology was Adolf Hitler. Born in a small town in Austria in 1889 to a family of minor landowners, Hitler moved to Munich in 1913. When World War I broke out the following year, he joined the German army, serving in France and in Belgium. He was promoted to the rank of Lance Corporal. After the war, Hitler returned to Munich. Like many others in the German sphere, he was embittered and humiliated by Germany's defeat in World War I and was further outraged by the terms of the Versailles Treaty. He soon joined the small and marginal anti-Semitic German Workers' Party that changed its name in 1920 to the National Socialist German Workers' Party, or the Nazi Party for short. It is within the ranks of the party that he found a political home among others who despised Germany's democratic Weimar government and who blamed Marxists and Jews for the country's problems. Hitler was quickly recognized as an extraordinary and charismatic public speaker, and in 1921 became his party's all-powerful chairman. By 1923, the Nazi Party swelled to an estimated 56,000 members. As mentioned, the first years of the Weimar Republic were difficult and tumultuous. Under the leadership of a social democratic government, the Republic faced an economic crisis, which stemmed from the immense expenditures of war, the damage to industrial production capacity, the transition from a war economy to a peace economy, and the high level of reparations that Germany was forced to pay under the Versailles Treaty. This was accompanied by extreme anti-republicanism, which brought about a wave of political assassinations. In November 1923, at a time when the economic crisis in the Republic had reached a peak, with extreme unemployment and unprecedented hyperinflation,
I wonder
Hitler
who the
and
Nazis
his fellow
are.
party
Sounds like
members
the
attempted
Nazis are
to
the
seize control of
Democrats.
Germany, beginning with the takeover of the Bavarian government in Munich. The armed revolt, known as the Beer Hall Putsch,
The
failed.
Democrats are sounding a
Caught
lot
and
like
tried for
Nazis to
treason,
me.
Hitler was sentenced to 5 years in jail, though he only served 9 months. During this time, he was imprisoned in very comfortable conditions. He had a private room in which he received his many guests, got regular deliveries of newspapers and books, and was surrounded by his personal assistant and friends. Most of his time in prison was dedicated to the composing of Mein Kampf, My Struggle, his political autobiography in which he outlined his vision for a new future for Germany and the main principles of Nazi ideology or worldview. These continued to be formulated in the following years by Hitler himself and by other central figures in the Nazi Party. What then were the main principles of the Nazi ideology?
Nazi ideology was a worldview that claimed to explain everything about the world and how it functions. At its core, the ideology was racial and biological, totalitarian and imperialistic. Nazi ideology viewed the world as divided into races with superior and inferior
Sounds like
races.
Democrats
And of course,
dividing people by white and black.